Hello everyone, welcome to a new series that I like to call Star Ranks. Now this series will be me ranking things based off series or games, basically anything that I enjoy. This episode I will be ranking every character in Persona 4 Golden. Now if you haven't heard of this series or haven't played the game yourself, I highly recommend you watch a playthrough on YouTube or play it yourself. I believe it's only $20 on the Switch, which is what I played it on, so yeah, it's worth a shot. Persona 4 has quickly climbed to my top 3 games of all time, and if y'all want a video of my top 10 games, let me know in the comments below. But basically, I'll be going over each character in depth, and I'll give a spoiler warning for those who want to experience the game's characters themselves. Anyway, let's get started with our first character, the main character. Ordinary average guys. Yuuu Narukami. Now when looking at the game itself, Yuuu doesn't have a lot of personality because his personality is basically your own. However, there are hints of his own character throughout the game. Where Yuuu really comes into his own is in the anime.
I'm so happy.
Dude, you can't hog all 3 of them at once!
I can't, cause I'm the king.
He's a very chill guy who will point out the weirdness or problems about a person or situation, but will then go along with it as if it were totally normal.
What are you doing? You can't pee right here in someone's room! Narukami, will you please stop him?
Huh? Why would I do that?
Huh?
He also has a very strong relationship with most of the cast of characters. For you non-Persona players, you build a lot of strong bonds with your friends and family in these games, and getting to know them more will help you throughout your journey. His relationship with Nanako, Dojima, and Yosuke carry the whole cast together. Overall, Yuuu gets a solid A. He's a great protagonist once you get to know him.
Women.
Next up is Yuu's trustworthy partner, Yosuke Hanamura. Now Yosuke at first seems to be an annoying, insensitive guy, but underneath that hard shell is a chill guy that really cares about his friends.
I think the fact you were gonna do that is totally impressive. It means you've already got better cooking skills than Chie.
Wait a sec!
One of my favorite moments from the game is when Yosuke and Yuuu punch each other to let out all their feelings and then lay down, happy with their relationship. I also give credit to Yosuke's voice actor who did an excellent job during emotional scenes, especially near the end of the game when you make the important choice of what to do with Namatame.
You just heard what this bastard's really thinking. If that happens, it'll be just like Nanako-chan and Senpai. Who knows how many innocent people will die this time? I can't let something like that go. Someone close to me died. Her killer can't be convicted. And now I'm gonna let the same thing happen again? There's no way I can do that! It's just wrong, isn't it?
Yosuke, a good friend and bro, goes right beside his partner in the A tier.
The Dragon Warrior! It's me!
Third up is Chie. Now, I know a lot of people have Chie as their best character in the investigation team, but she never fully worked for me. Don't get me wrong, I think she's hilarious and fierce as a kung fu warrior would be, but I was never going out of my way to hang out with her. I like her relationship with Yuko, who we'll be getting to shortly, but other than that, I never felt she got as close to the rest of the group as Yosuke or Yuuu. Therefore, in my opinion, keywords there, Chie goes in B, for beefsteak.
Beefsteak?
2 shots of vodka.
Fourth, but definitely not least, which doesn't make sense because it's not the last one, is Yukiko Amagi. Where do I start with Yukiko? She's smart, hardworking, awkwardly funny, and she's trying her best to cook, just like me. I've made spaghetti before and I'm getting better, so I can definitely relate to her. Things also go over her head a few times, and that's happened to me plenty. Her laugh is so contagious and she rocks those goofy glasses. However, one difference between Yukiko and I is that at the beginning, she wants to leave the small town of Inaba and not inherit her family's inn. But at the end, she discovers that she will take care of the inn because it means a lot to her family and the citizens of Inaba. Yukiko was my first and so far only romance route, and I don't regret it. And for those of you who say that's weird, there's another character on this list who I would have chosen a romance route for, but she wasn't available, so Yukiko was the next best. For now, Yukiko is our first S-tier Persona 4 character.
If we cover her nose and mouth, you think she'll stop? The bad boy is back! Never leave me again.
On to who I think is the best character in the investigation team, besides Yukiko, of course, Kanji Tatsumi. To me, Kanji was the funniest character in the game by far. Whenever he said things as they were or pointed out Whenever he said things as they were or pointed out Yosuke's flawed comments, I laughed like Yukiko.
The secret animal cracker! You were eating them and you didn't know that?
Are you serious? Well, you should have said something.
Oh well.
He also breakdances in the intro to the Persona 4 dancing game, so that bumps it up one tier. The beach scene is a standout in the whole game, and I will never look at the birth of Venus the same way again. The main man, Kanji Tatsumi, goes up in S tier. What also helps Kanji's character is his relationship with Naoto Shirogane, which is a good segue because our next character is...
Inspector, if you can't find the murderer, I suggest wrapping this up.
Naoto Shirogane, the famous kid detective. Appearing throughout the game and then eventually joining our crew, Naoto tries to solve the murder mystery along with us. Once again, her relationship with Kanji makes them a dynamic duo that you can't separate, but in terms of this tier list, I might have to. With Naoto being properly introduced halfway through the game, I feel like I would have liked his character if he got more screen time. I think his story... Wait. I forget. Is Naoto... Naoto's a guy, right? Hang on. Let me see. I always get this confused. Persona 4 Naoto. Right. She's a girl. Okay, well, I'm going to have to change all this. Okay. Naoto Shirogane, the famous kid detective. Appearing throughout the game and then eventually joining our crew, Naoto tries to solve the murder mystery along with us. Once again, her relationship with Kanji makes them a dynamic duo that you can't separate, but in terms of this tier list, I might have to. With Naoto being properly introduced halfway through the game, I feel like I would have liked her character if she got more screen time. I think her storyline regarding the police squad not respecting her could have been built up, maybe by seeing her interact with the police more, but I feel like she just shows up during Kanji's dungeon arc. Because of Naoto's unused potential, she goes in A, but she's still a great character.
Super Idol 的笑容都没你的
On to the superstar of Persona 4's investigation team, Rise Kujikawa. For me, Rise seemed like she was trying too hard to be an S-tier character. While I think her social link is a powerful one, trying to escape her idol persona and focus on her real identity, she mostly just hits on Youu, and it never worked for me. So Rise is going in B for Boy, That Dungeon Was Wild.
Miska, Muska, Mickey Mouse.
Closing out our investigation team is the one and only Teddy. Now I know Teddy gets a lot of crap, but I didn't think he was the worst character in the game. I'll get to them later. For me, Teddy is a passable character. He's got some funny moments, and the reveal of his human body metamorphosis was quite a surprise, but overall, his character is just okay.
Much better.
He gets put right in the middle in C tier.
Eat your vegetables!
Moving on from the investigation team, we have Dear Uncle Dojima. Now I think Dojima is a great character, especially when you connect his social link with Nanako's. His arc is very complicated, but it makes sense that it takes a while to wrap up.
Great vegetables.
His arc is very complicated, but it makes sense that it takes a while to wrap it with a bow. Parenting is a hard thing, and Dojima is a great example of that. He's also a funny guy who just wants to show that he cares for his family, so Uncle Dojima goes in A tier.
Don't touch the child!
And of course, we can't have Dojima without Nanako. I think everyone knows where I'm putting Nanako, but for those who haven't played the game, here's why she's great. Nanako has an interesting arc in the game where she starts out very mature and independent, but when you arrive, you start having these deep conversations with her. You get her to understand why Dojima acts the way he does and why he's always working. While Nanako understands logical situations, she still has a lot to learn when it comes to human emotions. While Dojima lets his emotions get the better of him, Nanako puts her brain over her heart. Of course, she still loves her family, she just doesn't understand why. Nanako, of course, goes in S tier.
Yes, it was I. My machinations lay undetected for years, for I'm a master of deception.
Dojima's partner, however, is a whole different character. This is where I'll probably get into some deep spoilers, so keep an eye out for a warning. Toru Adachi is an interesting guy. When you first meet him, he acts like your average clumsy assistant, and I'm sure some of that is his actual personality. But the more you get into the game, his mask slowly comes off. He is revealed to be the culprit of the murder mystery, manipulating Namatame to throw people into the TV, effectively killing them without getting physically involved. His boredom with the world's rules makes him an evil for evil's sake character, so there's no sympathy with him, which is refreshing after having so many villains be given tragic backstories. Adachi also has this style that just gives him so much personality. Also, he's voiced by Hajime Hinata, so boom, S tier.
Allow me to cut through those words!
With a friend? No way!
Cruising on down Main Street.
Now let's move on to the teachers, and they're both bad, but one outranks the other. Our first teacher is Mr. Muraoka, aka King Moron. He's just a loud, rude guy who was probably bullied in school, but he does have a comical moment from time to time, so I'll give him D tier. Miss Kashiwagi, however, was just the worst. There was not a moment where I enjoyed her character, and the way she said Mr. Muraoka was very weird too, so she is going to be our first F tier. Now let's get on to our non-investigation team social links.
Shadow basketball!
First up is Ko and Daisuke. I'm putting these two together because you pretty much hang out with both when doing the strength social link. Their stories are nice to uncover, but other than that, there's not much to their characters that stands out from the rest. They're going in the not bad, but average C tier.
I'm speaking, my boy, of the theater!
Now for this next character, I've never done her social link in my playthrough, but I did watch others go through her story, and I'm glad I didn't do it myself. Yumi seems like she could have been a great character in the drama club, and that's coming from someone who took drama in high school, so I know what kind of people take that class. Yumi is annoying in her early social link levels, and I know it's there to show growth, but she got on my nerves sometimes. She's not terrible, maybe it's just because I haven't tried a social link myself. But for now, she's going in D tier. Ayane, on the other hand, is less annoying. She is the other side of the moon social link. Having not been in band club, I didn't know where this social link would go. I eventually started relating with Ayane, wanting to be the star of a concert, but feeling like those who are undoubtedly better should get the spotlight instead. Though from time to time, she did seem like a Debbie Downer. Still, a better character than Yumi in my opinion, so she is going in C tier. The next social link is Ai Ebihara.
Ew, poor!
She's an interesting character for sure. At first she seemed like a classic F tier character, but you then realize there's more to her character than you see on the surface. She tries to get Ko to like her by pretending to date you, but then she accidentally starts getting feelings for you. This either ends up in a romance route or you end up being a dependable friend to her, depending on your choice. It's got plenty of opportunities for you to break your relationship with her, so it's one of the hardest social links to max. Ai, while unlikable at first, ends up being a pretty good friend, so she goes in C tier.
What do you say I ride your broomstick for a while?
What do you mean?
Fill my pointy hat.
Don't follow.
Pop my ruby slipper.
Totally lost.
I want to have sex with you.
Oh, still don't get it.
Nurse Sayoko feels like a social link that's forced upon you when you take up a night shift job at the hospital, and I feel like it has the least impactful story. Sayoko is not relatable to me at all, and her first social link levels are some of the most uncomfortable parts of the game. For this, she goes in D tier, because I don't hate her, I just have no feelings toward her at all. The fox is a fox, and I don't feel like I understand the fox at any point near the game, but it helped me when we were in the dungeons, so it gets C tier.
Nerd!
Aside from the night shift at the hospital, you also tutor a student named Shu at night. Shu has a hard shell on the outside, being pressured by his parents to be the smartest in his school, so it takes some time to get his true self out. But I feel like we should have talked with his mother more during his social link. My favorite level is the birthday party the investigation team throws for him. It might have been the only time someone showed him true kindness. Overall, Shu is a good character with a tough exterior and a soft interior. But half of the time, he was a jerk, so he's going in C tier. You thought I was going to put him in A tier, didn't you? Let's not forget that C tier is full of good characters, but they could still be improved upon. Eri Minami might be the most insufferable character in Persona 4. She's not as good of a parent as she thinks she is by the end of the social link, and I don't think her relationship with her son developed in a realistic way. Her husband never shows up, so there's still story to be had with her. Therefore, Eri is going in D tier.
I'm death. Straight up.
Moving on to death. I think our conversations with Hanano are the deepest. A youth having a conversation with an elder about love and death is something I think everyone should go through. You will earn a lot from someone who has experienced plenty of both. In the end, Hanano is a sad yet joyful character and is going in B tier. Our last non-investigation team social link is the most powerful. Naoki is a very complex character, and I'll be getting into spoilers for his story. So near the beginning of the game, his sister Saki dies, and everyone starts trying to console Naoki about it. After seeing that Naoki isn't skipping school or showing any emotion about it, they start thinking that Naoki didn't care about Saki. Naoki goes on to say that that's not true, and he hates that everyone thinks one needs to show their grief to show they care, or else they don't have any feelings toward their lost loved ones. This is a very important message because it's harder for others to show their emotion because they don't know how to react. No one is ready for the first time they lose a loved one, and so it's important to let them deal with it in a way that comforts them. Naoki goes in A tier, being one of the most memorable side characters in Persona.
Oh, you guys.
Moving on to additional characters, I'm just going to zoom through these before we get to our final sections of characters. Himiko is just played for laughs and she's not given a lot to do, so she goes in D tier. Daidara is pretty cool and I love seeing his art, but he goes in D2. Tanaka has some swag, but I generally don't benefit from his show, so he goes in C tier. Now let's move on to our story characters.
Long,
These are important characters to the story outside of our main investigation team. First up is Igor. Igor is the first person we meet sitting in a velvet limousine, this game's version of the Velvet Room. I like his voice in this game better than Persona 5's Igor, which I am currently playing while writing the script, so I think he's got a great personality in this game specifically. His nose is also iconic. A very gruesome character, going in B tier. Moving down the line of Velvet Room attendants, we have Marie. Marie's a very likable character, being your classic fish out of water, but her addition to the overall story is a welcome one, and her dungeon spices things up in terms of difficulty, so she goes in B tier. Sometimes she's a little cringe. Alright, spoilers ahead. Major spoilers ahead. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, the man who throws everyone in the TV, Mr. Namatame, is a hard one to place. While he did do those terrible things, he was being manipulated by Adachi. He's a very split character, so I think it fits to put him in a split tier, so he goes in D tier. I would have liked to see him really rehabilitate to a good man, so that's what knocks him down from C tier. Izanami is a fun twist for the true ending of the game, but she didn't have a lot of character to her besides being evil. But not in that fun evil for evil's sake way that Adachi is, so she goes in D tier. Mitsuo Kubo is the worst character in the game, even worse than the actual culprit of the murders, and he had no motive other than gaining attention, and he killed Muraoka, leading to Kashiwagi taking his place, so he's the worst. And now, after revealing the worst character in Persona 4, I give you the best character in Persona 4 Golden. Margaret. I don't know what it is about her. She doesn't get a lot of screen time, but there's something about the way she speaks. She's got a lot of mystery to her character, and she has one of the most shocking scenes of the game.
Why did I steal a kiss? Is that what you were going to ask? But it's you who was the thief.
Her social link, while basic, is not only easy on a second playthrough, but it helps me in future dungeons. She's also got a killer battle, so I see nothing to not like about her character. I just wish she got a romance route, but I got close enough. To recap, Mitsuo bad, Margaret perfect. Thanks for watching my ranking of all significant Persona 4 characters, and if you have any recommendations on what I should rank next, write it in the comments section below, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye!